Some lives are meant for dreaming. What do I mean when I say that? So it's not that everyone can't accomplish their goals, that they can't achieve what they desire to achieve, or get all that they want in life. It's that the universe can only accommodate relatively instantly only a certain amount of dreams. Everything is connected. We are all part of a grander whole. All of our lives are pieces of a grander being. Unfortunately, we are caught up in the illusion of time and space. And space is a product of time. In the yogic sciences, anyway. But we as individuals, because our means are so limited, because our minds are so limited, because our brains are so limited, and because our experiences are so limited, our dreams become relatively unrealistic in their desire for immediacy. We want things to happen quick. We want things to happen as soon as possible. We think that if we add up all the moments of desire, of want, we imagine need, that they will equal, and soon, a reprieve from this lack that we are sensing, whatever that lack may be. Whether we imagine it's a need or a want, whatever we imagine that we desire. But we come to time and time again that we don't get what we want when we want it. We miscalculate, we misunderstand, and we look at our lives and go in wrong directions and mess up because of our want for immediacy or because of our want for just a little bit more comfort. Whether it be a relationship, whether it be a job that's just a little bit better, whether it be compromises on how much we drink or smoke, or whether it be compromises on how much we eat or what we eat. Oh, I'll eat a salad tomorrow. I'm just going to eat these ribs today, and I'll make sure not to eat as much tomorrow. It can be anything. We make these compromises with ourselves. It's kind of an echo chamber where we're just talking to ourselves in our head, making all these little compromises, trying to add them up for an exchange with our conscience. And our conscience is like, oh, are you going to do that again? Yeah, but I won't do it tomorrow, or I'll do less of it tomorrow. And this exchange becomes a very time-oriented thing. Like, I need to have this today. I need to satisfy this desire today. Or I'm so lonely, I need somebody. I need to talk to somebody even. Sometimes it's completely innocent and there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes it's not based on desire, but you're just lonely. Because of the constant dialogue that we have with our conscience, even if we're one of those people that don't have an inner dialogue really, or inner monologue, that constant exchange process is happening in our heads. We're weighing things and making trades. The universe does not operate on the same time scale that we do. If you look at a video of bacteria, and you look at a video of people swimming on a beach, going in and out, paddle boats, swimming, looking around, going back to the coast, whatever it is, if you look at these two videos, if you just look at bacteria and you look at that, you realize we look a lot like bacteria. We look a lot smaller when everything is zoomed out. And whenever we speed up the video just a bit, our timescales are not the same as the universe's timescales. Our registering of time is not the same as the way the universe operates in relation to different pieces of itself and the grander being that we are part of in its relationship to different pieces of itself, one piece to another. Some lives are just meant to dream. I like to think of God, the source, as the grander computational force in every single soul, whether it be a human being, be an animal, whether it be a bacteria, whether it be a single blade of grass, whatever it may be, all the little pieces. We're all different elements, different pieces of a grander computational force, but we each have our various abilities to compute, to figure things out, to try to understand. And what I've realized about observing life is that it looks like everything is here to figure out something. I don't know what that is, I can guess, but everything is here to figure out something. But all of the pieces that we are, every little piece is a smaller piece of the grander computational force, an isolated piece in its own little ball. Now, when we're computing alone in kind of a vacuum, it's a little bit scary. We're isolated, and sometimes we have a lot of delusions. There are times when I step back in my own life and I feel myself on a grander scale. Well, I can't do it all the time, but sometimes I can. Sometimes I can step back and feel myself on a grander scale, on a grander timeline. Some lives are meant to dream. What that means is that this might not be a lifetime where you get everything you want or can even conceive of what you actually want, and are not just making compromises, not just settling with what you think you want, because most of us don't really know what we want on a grander scale. We can say a spiritual path, we can say we want enlightenment, but we don't know what that looks like, what that feels like. So when we bring ourselves down and understand ourselves on a smaller time scale, on a smaller timeline, things make more sense. These instants of time that we actually feel ourselves on a grander scale, where we feel our soul, they're a little bit discombobulating a lot of the time, because it's hard to reorient ourselves to this body and this personality. Because even our personality, let alone our body, it feels like a glove, or it feels like a sock that we got to put back on after coming back from a grander view of ourselves. Some lives are meant to dream and meant to understand and meant to figure out what we really want, what our soul really wants, rather than actually achieving it. And that can be heartbreaking for a lot of us. It can be heartbreaking for me too. Because, there's a lot of things that I think that I want. And there's a lot of things that I'm not getting that I want. And sometimes the line of working towards that is not clear. Not only do we not know what we want, but sometimes, a lot of the time, the path is not clear. To be content, we have to work ourselves into a space, a mindset, to where this life might just be to dream. This life might just be figuring out what we truly want. It's going to add to the grander computational force, and it's going to add to the grander understanding of your soul. If you can work yourself into a mindset to where you won't achieve everything that you want to achieve, and you may not achieve or get the biggest things in your life that you want, whether it's finding love, like for me, I've been in love before, but it's a long process, and the same kind of people don't interest me that interest other people. Intellectual and spiritual connection is what I'm seeking. And unfortunately, some of us are ahead of the curve. That sounds egotistical, because it probably is. But I'm working myself, and I have worked myself into a space where it might just be dreaming of what I want, not getting it. Whatever you want, this might just be the life where you dream and figure that out. Sometimes we put time limits on, if I don't get this by this, then, I'm screwed. Or, this is how we convince ourselves in little time frames. If I don't get this in this amount of time, I'm screwed, or I'm going to give up. Or surely I'll get this by this time. Or surely I'll have a house by then. Or surely I'll be able to really afford rent all the time by this point. Or save up enough for my kids' college. Or even buy a car. by this point, surely. And that helps us work towards our goals. It does. And it's important to do that at the same time, but not rely upon that for your self-definition. Because a lot of the convincing that we do in our heads is just, just kind of psychobabble. What I mean by psychobabble is that it's just games that we do in our head to get us to do stuff, to get us to accomplish this little goal or that little goal. Well, I need to finish this, otherwise, blah. It's a conversation in our head that doesn't really mean anything. It just gets us motivated. And it's okay. For instance, if you get a text message from somebody you really like, or that you look up to, and you're like, oh, I got a text message for them, and you start imagining, the conversation you're going to have, or, oh, what this means, or just imagining like, ooh, I feel better about myself. I feel like I'm somebody. Sometimes it doesn't matter what that text message actually says. Sometimes you can enjoy that and then, keep that enjoyment even when you read it. If it's not super detrimental, if it's just kind of a light text message or not what you expected, if you can keep that enjoyment, then you can enjoy the game. And that's the text message example is just an example. It can be anything. Ooh, what did this person say yesterday? I'm looking forward to what they say today. If you can enjoy the game like that, the game that is life like that, without being defeated when it doesn't turn out to be what you wanted it to be, then that psychobabble is useful. It's fun, and it helps us get through the day. It helps us with motivation. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with imagining. Just don't rely upon it being fulfilled. Don't get crushed when every little imagining doesn't become something. Just enjoy it while it lasts. That's fine. That's exactly what we should do with life. And, I've seen people really destroyed mentally with not achieving what they wanted to achieve, or not becoming what they wanted to become, or whatever end result that they wanted not happening. I've seen it really destroy people. We have to enjoy the game. And we have to work ourselves into a point to where we can enjoy the game without needing or imagining that we need the results. Some lives are meant to dream, and dream, imagine. You might get it, you might not. But as somebody who's touched and does touch, not always on purpose, that's for sure, most of the time not, grander time scales where I zip back, disassociation, but even more macro, to where I'm so disassociated with my body and time and this life that I start feeling. It's more feeling than sight. I mean, vision too, but it's hard to explain. But former lives and then future lives, and seeing how small I am, just one ant in a long line of ants going towards that honey. You can look at it as going towards the source, or what your soul truly wants. Kind of one and the same ultimately. But however you view it, feeling and viewing myself as just an ant in a long line, and that my whole life just that one single ant, longer line. I feel that sometimes, not often, but I feel it sometimes, and it's mostly by accident because I don't control it. I'm not that advanced. But when I feel it, it really puts everything in perspective. Your life becomes not an isolated life. You start to feel that there's no divide between, like when you look on bacteria under a microscope and see them moving around, you don't view them as individual, really. You feel a grander sense of them. Just like looking at people at a beach and on a coast and swimming around and stuff. You start to see the idea of free will. It's the contradiction of terms, or the idea of, do I want to die even, or what's the point of it all? Those questions don't come into your mind. They're not the frequency you're attuned to when it becomes macro like that. When you start looking at everything in this sight beyond sight, the sight behind sight. And you really start to feel not only that your individual life is a grander journey for this soul, but you start to feel the grander connectivity of all of nature and all of being and all the souls. And it feels less isolated. But then, shoved back into this thing that is Hunter. we start looking at what we don't have, and it becomes all we see. And the grander picture becomes something that's ephemeral, not here and not part of us, but it should be a part of us in our perspective on our lives. Dream, imagine, and enjoy it, and be okay with enjoying it, but just not achieving it. You might achieve it, but you might not. This won't be your only chance. But even if I'm wrong about everything, and I'm just crazy, and this is your only chance, do not torture yourself. Do not set expectations or demands from this universe, because if it's us versus the universe, we're not going to win. Everything will not align when we want it to align. Certainly not, we can't expect it all to align in a single lifetime when we're talking about millions and billions of years that this universe operates on. We are the micro in the macro. Step back and see that. Feel free to imagine and dream and enjoy that, and work towards achieving your dreams. Find a route. Look for it. Try to find it. Do your best. But if you don't achieve it, it's okay. Enjoy the ride, as corny as it sounds, as much as we hear that. But some lives are meant to dream, and that's okay. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Hit that thumbs up down there. Like this video. It really helps out the channel. Feel free to leave a comment. That also brings views to the channel and also helps me interact with you, which I'm more than willing to do. Did you like this video? Did you not like it? What are your thoughts on dreaming, and if we're meant to achieve everything that we're supposed to in this life, or are we attracting failure because we think about failure, or attracting boring people because we think everybody is boring? Is there a secret to it where if we just imagine it, if we just focus and change our perspective, everything will come to us? Is that real? Is it not real? Is this not the way to look at it? Perhaps it's just all about perspective. This has been a video about perspective, though I have a little bit different perspective than imagining everything to existence. But that, I'm sure, is an element of it. At any rate, thank you very much for watching, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day.